So good morning everybody, welcome to Straddle Secrets. My name is Suzie Q and Pumpkin I think will be in and out during the class this morning. So if you see me yelling at something off screen, it's him trying to eat like my laptop cable or something. So just take care of your bodies this morning. I'll give lots of options. So if something doesn't feel right for your body, don't do it. Yeah, skip it out, go to another option. I've got the chat window open the whole time. So if you need anything at any time, you can always pop it in the chat. Any injuries that I should know about before we begin? All feeling okay, fabulous, excellent. All right, so for today, you'll need a pole. You can also skip the pole bits if you're doing this away from a pole. And you'll also need like a yoga mat type area or carpet or just somewhere where we can lie down as well. And that's it. And then we've got many pets joining us. Madeline, he's so cute, or she's so cute. Yes, pets interrupting Zoom. It's like the story of the last year. We just had a couple more people join. Excellent. Good morning, Lisa. All right, so again, chat window's open, so if you need anything at any time, just pop it into the chat. I do have a bunny running around who may or may not interrupt the class, but let's begin with Straddle Secrets. So I've got like our lesson plan written out here. I've got like 3-4 pages, so let's just see how much we get through, basically. So are you ready for Straddle Secrets? This is one secret, I think. So this was coined by a woman named Emily Sherb, and she's also known as the circus doc, and she's the author of Anatomy of Aerial Arts, basically. So she's done a lot of research into the anatomical considerations of aerialists, and this relates to us because as pole dancers we're really similar to silks artists in that we're working on a vertical apparatus. And what I love about her research and her work is that previously a lot of the research and things that were done into shoulder anatomy were for the general public. This looks so suspicious. But for the general public, so it means arm actions sort of down here and not that much work sort of up here, which is where we do a lot of our weight bearing. So it's really interesting. I definitely recommend checking out her resources. So the circus doc is what she's known as, Emily Sherb. But she has this concept for inversions, 3 parts, which is what we're doing today. This is it, this is the whole workshop, is on lift, compress, and rotate. So I'm just gonna show you what I mean on the pole, and then we're just gonna break it down and explore it for an hour, basically. So an inversion has 3 parts. It has a lift, it has a compress, and then it has a rotation. So what I see a lot as a teacher is people skipping one of those parts, yeah? So they sort of come in and they rotate, but they haven't lifted or compressed. Or they lift, compressed, and then lose the lift. So this is what we're going to be exploring today. It's just this 3-part inversion. Oh, you have bunnies too, yeah, excellent. How much are they annoying? Good thing they're cute.
A lot. It is why I came to the studio for this workshop.
Yes, he's literally in front of the camera now over here. Anyway, we'll see how much he decides to disturb the workshop. So that's it. That's what we're going to be looking at over the next hour. Yeah, this concept of lift, compress, rotate, with a few other bits and pieces thrown in. So let's get warm. It's first thing in the morning for me. I'm not the huge morning person. This is a good start time. So just down on all fours, and we'll begin with some thoracic rotations through the spine. So hands are under shoulders and knees are under hips. And then pick a hand, any hand, place it onto the opposite collarbone and make sure it stays there. Keep this arm straight. You're dropping the elbow down as low as you can on the supporting arm and then taking it as high as you can to the ceiling looking up. Try not to rotate through the hips. And this is it. This is the action through our spine. So we're lowering down and lifting up. Again, keep the supporting arm straight and create a little bit of push, a little bit of lift as we come to that top of that rotation. So let's do 4 more like this. So 4, 3, he does really like Zoom, and I haven't done a lot on Zoom lately, so he's gonna be very excited. 2, and 1. Straight away to the other side, exactly the same thing. Hands under the shoulder, arms stay straight, opposite fingertips to the collarbone as low as you can on the arm without bending and without taking the hands off the collarbone. He's eating the plant, isn't he? Good. And rotating up, trying not to move through the hips. Punky, hey, no. We'll take 4 more like that. So 4, 3, so as low as you can on the arm, as high as you can to the sky, try not to rotate through the hips. 2, and last one. Straight away back onto all fours, coming into some shrugs. So now both arms stay straight. We're lowering the chest down and then pushing away from the floor. So this idea of kind of mobilizing through our scapula or our shoulder blades is a big part of our first concept, which is lift. Yeah, we're using our shoulders and our shoulder blades to initiate this action. We'll take 4 more like this. 4, I give up. 3, 2, and 1. Hold it at the top of the shrug, touching opposite hand to opposite collarbone. So these are just taps, but I'm about to make them much harder. So we'll take 4 and change. Keep at the top of the shrug. 3 and change. 2 and change. Last one. Tap and change. Same thing, all in plank now. So let's take the feet back, the knees lift. I'm going to turn to the side, and we're doing the same thing. So tiny tuck under of the pelvis, so not arching through the back. Tiny tuck, like you're drawing your pubic bone up behind your belly button. Shrugs, so straight arms, that idea of mobilizing through the scapula. Lowering down for 4, lift, 3, lift, 2, lift, 1, stay at the top of the shrug. Feel free to drop down onto the knees, and we're tapping. So as you tap, make sure your feet are about hip distance apart and try not to move through the hips, okay? So I'm not rocking from side to side here. It's like my hips are locked in concrete. For 4, and change. 3, and change. Almost done. 2, and change. Last one. Up and change. Amazing. Lying down on your tummy. Alright. And we're going to start to warm up through the shoulders. So same thing I spoke about in plank, that tiny tuck under of the pelvis, reaching the arms out in front like Superman. We're doing a reach and a lift with the forehead on the floor. So forehead is down, we're going reach, thumbs are up, and lift, lower down. Reach, lift, lower. Reach, lift, lower. Reach, lift, lower. 4 more. 4, lift, lower. 3, lift, lower. Make sure you have that reach first. 2, lift, lower. Last one, reach, lift, lower. So it's really important that we try and maintain this kind of neutrality to the spine, so not letting it arch too much down here on the floor. Same thing, taking our shoulders into a rotation. So we still have our reach and lift. So we reach, we lift, we circle the arms out to the side, around about here. They'll need to change, palms up. And then you're taking them up as high as you can on your back without the hands touching the back. And then we reverse that action, taking it round, the arms will rotate. So we end up with thumbs up. So same thing, make sure you have that reach first. Lift as high as you can. Keep them as high as you can as you circle them round. Coming up as close to your neck as you can without the hands touching your back. We'll take 4 more like this. 4 is the number for the workshop today, okay? So reach, lift, spiral it around as high up the spine as you can without touching the back, and then return. We'll take 3 more. Make sure you have the reach first. Lift, spiral it around. Beautiful. 2 to go. So thumbs are up for our reach, reach, lift, circle and spiral as high up the spine as possible. And then this will be our last one. So reach, lift, circle, spiral as high up the spine as possible and return. Beautiful. Just press back to child's pose just for a moment, just taking a little breath. And then we'll come up to either kneeling or sitting, it doesn't matter. We're still just warming up into our shoulders. So arms are up, pinkies are forward, thumbs are back, reaching to the sky, ribs are pulled in, and you're just pulsing your thumbs backwards. So keep pulsing. I'm going to show you from the side. So ribs are fully tucked here. So we're not flaring through the rib cage. So not this. Ribs and torso don't move. Pulse back. For 4, pulse. 3, pulse. 2, and 1. So from here we make like YMCA arms, with a Y anyway, and keep pulsing back. Ribs are still in. For 4, pulse. 3, pulse. 2, pulse. 1, pulse. From the letter Y, we come to the letter W, like you're trying to touch your elbows together behind your back. So Y to W, Y to W, Y to W, Y. Yes. For 4, 3, I know you can't touch them together, but really try. 2, and 1. From the letter W, we go to the letter L. So we're making 2 L shapes. Don't move the elbows, pulse the thumbs back. We're gonna go through this whole sequence again. For 4, pulse. 3, pulse. 2, pulse. 1, pulse. Back to the first one. Let's call this the I, like a letter I. Pulsing back, ribs don't move. For 4, pulse. 3, 2, 1, letter Y. 4, pulse. 3, pulse. 2, Y's to W's. Squeeze. Try and get them together behind your back. Really try and touch the elbows. I'm fully aware they don't touch. 2, and 1, and then we just have our letter L's. So palms are up like you're serving drinks behind you. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Hopefully a little bit warmer through the shoulders now. I do want to do one of my favorite little exercises at home for grip strength, which is fingertip push-ups. So do them on your knees. It's quite hard. And you're up on your fingertips, okay? So not palms, up on the fingers, and we'll just take, again, the number is 4, we'll take 4 little push-ups. So you can keep them really small, you can lean back a little bit, that's easier, you can lean forward a little bit, that's harder, you can lean forward a lot, that's much harder. So 4, 3, they don't have to be big, 2, and 1. Amazing. Sitting back, hands together, a little circle. So hopefully we're feeling a little bit warmer. We're going to start to move into our first concept, which is lift. So on the pole, this is this idea of pulling down, but we're just going to explore this on the floor quickly with the idea of pushing. So sit with your legs crossed. Bring your hands down onto the floor. So palms are flat this time. Grab the floor with your hands like you're, massaging the floor. And we're going to try and lift our hips off the ground. So you're trying to lift your hips up. So now I'm using my feet as well, but you can see through my shoulders, I've got this idea of a lift up. From here we add on, we take our hips back slightly. For 4, 3, 2, 1, release. If you find that's uncomfortable in your wrists, try one more, but try and turn the fingers out to the sides a little bit. So rather than having them pointing straight towards your feet, turn out a little bit. Last one. So push into the ankles, push into the hands, lift, hips back a little bit. If you're feeling super ambitious today, 1 foot off the floor, super ambitious, 2 feet off the floor, optional. 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Amazing. So now we've done this as a push, we're going to head over to our pole and do this as a pull. Yes? I'm just going to wipe my hands on my cloth, but jump up and head on over to your pole. So again, we're just looking at this first concept, which is lift. So pick a side, any side, you have to do both, and you have to do 4 because that's the number I've decided. So wrapping top of bicep into the pole, inside hand on, outside hand on top, hands a little bit higher than, I don't know, normal, so face height, yeah? We're using our tippy toes to create this action of this lift. Maybe we'll do more than 4, they're pretty easy, okay? So hands are about face height, and we're starting with first concept, which is lift. Do a couple more like this with the tippy toes. And then maybe start with the hands, this is an option, hands a little bit higher, so maybe forehead height. And as you pull down, lift onto the toes, see if you can come just off the floor before lowering back down. So I'm pushing out of the toes to lift up, I'm pulling down with the arms to create that lift. Now it really is 4 more. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straight away over to the other side of the pole. Same thing. Top of bicep touching, inside hand wraps on, outside hand over the top, hands about face height, hips are in front. We're pulling with the arms and we're pushing. We're basically doing a calf raise out of the toes, yeah? So a couple here using arms and feet. Again, let's get this idea of pulling down and this idea of creating lift. Same thing, hands a little bit higher now, so about forehead height, and maybe the feet can come just off the floor at the top of the lift. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. We are still on lift, all right? Come down onto your knees near the pole. Last round of lift though, all right? Pick a hand to be on top. You have to do both, so it doesn't matter. Hands are a little bit higher than the forehead. This time we push into the tops of the feet and pull down on the arms. So almost like a little pull up or chin up on the pole. 4 more from now. So 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straight away, change hands. So other hand is on top now. Same thing, push into the tops of the feet, pull with the arms. So it's the same thing we sort of looked at in our shrugs, where we're pulling the shoulders down a little bit in this action, or shoulder blades down a little bit. 4 more from now. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. It is time to have a small drink break. I'm going to have a sip of tea, and then we're going to move on to our second concept. So this is the first part of our straddle invert, yeah? We have to lift first of all. And this goes for aerial inverts, this goes for inverts from the floor, and this also goes for shoulder mounts, which we're going to look at today as well. They all have the same 3 parts: lift, compress, rotate. And by looking at it in this way, you can sort of see where your invert needs work. So we are up to compression. So in my classes, I refer to this as being small, because being small when we try to compress, okay? Predominantly when we're talking about compression, we're talking about our thighs coming towards our chest. So this is compression. Let's do some drills now. Get ready to switch on your abs, basically. We're gonna start in plank. So on the toes, hands under the shoulders, that tiny tuck under of the pelvis, like you're drawing the pubic bone up behind your belly button. Come to the top of your shrug like we did before. So rather than down or at the top, you're bringing your knee to your chest as close to your chest as you can, and then releasing back. Same thing on the other side. So knee to the chest, but really try to get it in close. So you can see how much my back is rounding here. So knee to chest, pull it in close, and release. Knee to chest, in nice and close, release. One more on each side. Pull it in, try to compress, be small. Last one. Beautiful, and down. So what we'll do is we'll alternate between drills in plank, because they're quite hard, and drills lying down. So let's lie down. Let's do our right leg first now. So you're on your back, right leg to the sky, and I call this walk the leg. So you're walking up your leg. Use your hands, use your arms, bring it up there. When we get to the top, you can have a bent knee, absolutely. I don't know why I flexed my foot when I did that, but we're trying to find that compression. So you're trying to find that connection between your chest and your thigh. So what we want to do when we come to the top of these drills is not be here. I don't know if you can see this, but it's like I want to roll over my sit bones to bring up a tall, straight spine, and then you walk the leg back down. The number is 4. Let's go. Walk it up. Try and find that hamstring stretch at the top. Tall, straight spine. Be as close as you can. Knee can be bent. Release it back down. 3 more. Let's go. Walk it up. Walk the leg. Pull it in at the top. Oh, hamstrings. Down. 2 more. Up. And down. Last one. Coming up to the top, try and find that idea of compression, the idea of bringing the chest towards the thigh. We're going to do 4 more. This time, option, no hands. So you come to the top, you use the hands at the top to find your hamstring stretch, and then you release back down. You can still use the hands, okay? 3 more. And down. 2. Find the little moment at the top, compress. And this is your last one. Beautiful. We're done on our back now, so we're going to flip back over to plank, then we'll come and do the left leg, okay? So back over to plank. So what we're doing now from plank is we're trying to bring the opposite knee to the opposite armpit. So my left knee is coming up to my right armpit. So really try, bring it as high as you can, and then release. Again, it's this idea of compression. Right knee comes across the body, high as you can, release back. Left knee, close to the arm. Mine is a long way away this morning, and back. Right knee, high as you can, and back. 4 more. 4, and back. 3, and back. 2, and back. Last one, cross and back. This is why we're alternating plank with on the back. Those are challenging. Onto your back. We're now walking the leg on the left side. So right leg is bent, left leg is to the sky. Walk yourself up there. Find that little stretch at the top. Again, we're trying to remove the rounded spine at the top. This is going to come into our inverts as well. Pushing the spine up tall, almost like trying to open through your chest at the top, and then release back down. Let's walk the leg for 4. Find the stretch at the top. Knee can be bent. 3. Try and find that straight spine. So that idea of squeezing the shoulder blades back. 2. Squeeze and lift. This is your last one. Up you go. Squeeze and lift at the top. Release. So you have 4 more. You can use the hands or you cannot use the hands. Peeling up, find the compression at the top, and then no hands back down. Let's go for 4. Lift and squeeze. Get open through the chest. Straight spine at the top. 3. Lift and squeeze. For 2. Hold it at the top, waking up hamstrings. I know it's early. Last one. Or it's early for my hamstrings. My hamstrings don't get up until about midday. Beautiful. We're back in plank. Flip it over. This time what we're going to do is bring the same knee to the same armpit, slide the knee down to the wrist, and then bring it up as high as we can to the armpit. Then we'll change sides. So right knee comes to right armpit, high as you can. It slides down to the wrist. You lift it back up to the armpit and then change sides. So left knee to left armpit, slide, lift, return. Right side, armpit, wrist, armpit, return. Left side, armpit, wrist, armpit, return. 4 more. 4, slide. It's definitely not armpit for me, it's like elbow. 3, slide, aim for armpit. Armpit, return. 2 more. High as you can. Slide, lift, return. Last one. High, slide, lift, return. Very nice. We are back onto the back. We are walking the leg, except this time we are walking the legs. So 2 legs to the sky this time. It's the same exercise. So 2 legs reach up, they can be bent. You're walking up both. Same thing at the top here. We want to find this kind of rolled forward straight spine position and then straighten the legs as much as possible, trying to be small. Walk the legs back down. Walk the legs up for 4, pulling it in at the top. Try and find this moment where we roll over the sit bones and come to a straight spine. For 3, lifting and pulling at the top, open chest. For 2, lift and pull. Last one. 4 more, no hands. This one's quite challenging. So trying to lift up, find that moment at the top. You can use arms and release back down. 3, use the legs if you need. For 2, legs can be bent. This is the last one. Roll it back down. And this time sit up and give yourself a hug underneath your calves, so on the backs of your thighs. So you see here naturally my spine is quite rounded. When we're in an invert, we don't want this with our upper back. We want to try and create some more openness, squeezing our shoulder blades back together. We're going to find a little hover here and practice straightening 1 leg at a time. Or let's just do 4 on each leg. So pick a leg, any leg, straighten it as much as you can, keep the spine up tall, and release. So that's 4, same leg. 3, release. 2, release. Last one. Same thing on the other side. So straightening for 4, try and keep that tall straight spine, so that idea of rocking forward over your sit bones. 3, 2, the focus is on this compression, trying to keep the chest and thighs together. 1, see how we go with both legs, balance challenge. Just as straight as you can get them, and then bending again. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Final compression drill on the floor. There's no more planks. Lie down on your back. Bring your right knee into the chest. It's very similar to what we just did. You're cuddling around the back of the thigh and you're keeping this connection, or as much connection as you can get, between your thigh and torso. From here, straightening and bending. And I use the term straight quite loosely. If your leg is going straight, I would say the knee has come away from the chest, or you have missed your calling as a contortionist in Cirque du Soleil. You should call them immediately. But no, leg is not going straight. The other thing is this is a very intense hamstring stretch, so don't hang out there. So just touch the stretch and then bend the leg again. It's okay if the leg is shaking, but we just want to touch the shake, then exit. Don't stay. So just touch the edge of where it might shake and then exit. We'll do 3 more. So 3, keep that idea of compression. 2, so thigh moving towards torso. Last one. Beautiful. Change sides. So other knee into the chest. You're cuddling around the back of the knee. We're straightening, it probably won't go straight, and then bending again. Again, you just want to touch that very intense stretch. Don't go deeply into it. Don't hang out in it. Just get to the edge of it and then bend the knee again. For 4, 3, again, the focus is on compression rather than on getting the legs straight. 2, last one. Excellent. All right, grab a quick sip of water. And then it's time to put compression on the pole, or lift and compress, because we're up to 2 now. Step 2. So, heading over to the pole, pick a side, any side. You have to do both. So, top of bicep onto the pole, wrap the arm on, other arm on top, a little bit higher than you might think. So about eye, forehead height. We're going to put everything together. Everything is 2 things that we've done so far. So we've got a lift, and then we have this idea of compression. We're going to start out just by doing a gallop, okay? So outside leg to the chest, change it over, inside leg to the chest. Does that make sense? So what you're trying to do is be as small as possible. So you're trying to bring your knees up as high as you can. They don't have to stay there for very long. We'll take 4. So 4, it can be quick. 3, 2, last one. Beautiful. Change sides, same thing. So outside hand on top. Hands are about eye height. So the first part, the first thing we want is lift. So that's where we come onto our tippy toes, we pull down, we squeeze our shoulder blades together. Lift. Now we want compression. So that's bringing the thigh towards the chest, then the other one. Yeah? Lift, be small, compress. So 4 of these, 4 gallops on the other side. So 4, trying to control your way back down. 3, nice, good. 2, you should be landing really silently. Last one. Beautiful. Same thing, 2 legs at once. So instead of galloping, we're going 2 legs to the chest at once. So go back to the first side. Feel free to wipe your hands and pole if you need to. So back to the first side. Hips in front, hands about eye height. So we've got our lift. So we come onto the tippy toes, we pull down, and then we have our compress. This time we're trying to bring both knees up to the chest and then return them to the floor silently, yeah? If you're coming back down with a big crash, don't lift so high. So really milk that on the way down time. So this is your eccentric contraction. This is when your weight, you are the weight, is going down, okay? And this is actually where we get strong. So don't rush through that exit. I didn't count, but I'm pretty sure that's 4. Let's try the other side. So just count 4 on the other side. Really milk the exit, and you don't have to go super high. Like, yes, you are going for compression, but maybe you're not quite getting there today, and that's cool. So 4 on the other side as well. So make sure you have your lift first, and then trying to bring in your compression, knees towards the chest. Awesome. I'm going to call that 4. Let's make this really, really, really hard, just for an experiment, okay? Again, you're only lifting up so high as you can control down. So the reason at the moment, back to the first slide, the reason at the moment we're doing compression with bent legs and things more like this is because when we have a short lever, it's easier to pick it up. So we're just going to have a little experiment now with a long lever. So you're going to try and lift your legs off the floor straight. So we'll do this in a bit of a straddle. Everything is the same. So we're coming to lift, legs are apart. And now try and lift your legs as high as you can straight with a controlled lower. So maybe that's here, okay? But you can see how much harder it is to get into compression when you have a long lever. Yeah, 4 of these. Control it back down. Excellent. These are going very well. Make sure we're not jumping, we're lifting and we're aiming for compression. So we're aiming to get thighs up to the chest, quite hard. And then just for the super duper ambitious amongst you, oh no, do the other side, then we'll do super duper ambitious. So other side, same thing in a straddle. So now we have a longer lever. So this is why straight-legged inverts are much harder, because we have the longer lever, so it's much harder to find that compressed position. So we've got lift, and then trying to find compression with a long lever or a straight leg. 4. So straddle is slightly easier than pike because of the angle. It's actually shorter. It's a shorter way to find compression. We're going to try and find it via pike. These are very hard. These are the hardest ones. So lift. That's pulling down to your shoulders, coming onto tippy toes. Feet are together now, and you're bringing them up as high as you can, straight, together with a controlled lower. Okay, that controlled lower is key. Let's have 4 goes on each side. So again, the idea is we're trying to go from lift to compression to lowering back down in a controlled way. So 4 on each side. They can be very tiny. Tiny is fine. And then you've made it to phase 3. You'd be pleased to know. But you can feel how much harder that is, yeah, to try and find your compression, okay? Which is why when we're learning these things, short lever, easier, because it's easier to find compression. Guys, you're on a break, which means you can have a drink, you can wipe your hands. I'm just gonna chat to you about your spine for 2 seconds. So, forward bending of the spine, this is called flexion. And back bending of the spine is called extension. All right, so the third part of our invert, we've got lift, we've got compress, we're up to part 3, which is rotate. Okay, so we've lifted, we've become small, now we want to stay on that axis and rotate around that axis. There's a little bit of a misconception sometimes, I think, around this is because we're rotating, people sort of end up in this position, but this is no good because an invert is a pulling action, and here I can't recruit my back muscles because they're my pulling muscles. So remember the Y to W that we did earlier? We're finding this W with our shoulder blades when we get into our invert. I know it's a lot of information, it's all right, I'll go over it again. So when we get to our invert, okay, we lift, compress, rotate. When we get there, we want to find extension, that's a back bend, in the upper part of the spine, but we have flexion, a forward bend, in the lower part of the spine as much as possible. So we're not here in our invert, we're trying to recruit our back muscles. I'll show you from a couple of angles here. So I've got lift, I've got compress, and then I've got rotate, and once I've rotated, I'm not here, Okay, I'm trying to open through my chest and squeeze my back muscles together, squeeze my shoulder blades together. Does that kind of make sense? A little bit? Forward bending of the bottom part of the spine, almost back bending of the top part of the spine. We are up to rotations. Pop down on the floor, lie down. This is probably my favorite drill for inverts because you can do it anywhere. You don't need a pole. So this is like plow pose or halasana from yoga. So we'll go pike first. Why not? So don't forget everything we've done so far, okay? This, yes, it's a rotation drill, but we're not losing compression. So we come over into plow, which is this thing, okay? And then we're gonna exit by thinking about compression, which is thighs towards the chest to roll down. Does that make sense? So you can use your hands on the floor. We're lifting up and over into plow, and then very much thighs towards your torso as you uncurl your spine down onto the floor. The magic number is 4, so you have 4 of these. So legs come up and over into plow, and then this is the moment, this unrolling through compression as you exit. So think about thighs to torso, thighs to torso, thighs to torso. Use your hands on the floor to help slow that lower down. Slow the low, slower the lower. Beautiful. Really compress on the way down. Perfect. Madeline, that's beautiful. Good. Alison, nice control. Everybody has nice control. This is really good. Amy, these look good. Yen, these look great. And Kim, you are off shot, but what I can see of your legs looks good. Thanks for waving at me. All right, moving on. Same idea, we're just gonna make it a bit more pole relevant. We come over in pike, and then we straddle to exit. So we come over into pike, and now my feet come apart, but I'm still thinking compression, 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 compression as I exit, yeah? So I'm very much thinking about thighs towards my chest as I exit. The magic number is 4. Up and over into plow, exiting via straddle in a slow roll down through the spine. Thank you, Kim. In a slow roll down through the spine. Good avoiding of wall, Amy. Beautiful. The magic number is 4. So coming over in pike and then exiting through straddle. Good. Really concentrate on keeping the tension in your legs. Oh, you did that time, Kim. Never mind. Don't even need me. So the tighter your body is, the lighter it is. Yeah? You've done 4, I'm gonna assume. You're gonna reverse it. So this time we come up and over via straddle into pike and exit via pike. Same thing, I'm thinking about this. Okay, I'm thinking about compression as I roll back down through. So now my legs come out in straddle, they come up and over to pike, and then I'm exiting in pike. Beautiful. Again, the magic number is 4, and then we're going to head over to the pole and start to put some of this together in our inverts. And now really compress them down, Alison. Push your thighs towards your chest. Yes, yes. Beautiful. Kim, you've done 4, 3, 2, 3. The magic number is 4. Beautiful, guys. So you can rest. You sort of see why people want to do this, right? Because I get to my invert, but I don't have to lift, compress, or rotate. Amazing, all right? I've just leapt there, I've skipped it all. Unfortunately, what that means is later on in your pole journey, when you want to do an aerial invert, It is not possible to do an aerial invert in this way, okay? You have to go through lift, compress, rotate. So it's really important that you're training lift, compress, rotate from now, from wherever you are in your invert journey. You want to start training this now so that by the time you're doing it up the pole, we have all those little muscles that can activate to initiate the movement. We're going to have a look at this whole concept very quickly in shoulder mounts. Then we're going to put it all together in an invert. So just sit at the base of your pole. In butterfly, or like a frog, soles of the feet together. All right, you've learned it all. We're just putting it all together here. Put your preferred shoulder on the pole for the first one. So with shoulder mounts, I'll face this way. Head goes in the big window, all right? So whatever hand is on top, that's the side the head goes to. We're gonna just look at all these concepts. Your bum might stay on the floor, and that's fine, okay? So lift is, I'm pulling on the pole, I'm lifting my chest up towards the sky. Compress and rotate are gonna happen at the same time. What I'm trying to do is pull the pole overhead and curl my hips up towards me, okay? So I've got my compression, my knees come towards my chest, and then I'm trying to rotate and curl my pelvis off the floor. So with a lot of my classes, when I start this, nobody's feet come off the floor, nobody's hips come off the floor, and that's fine, all right? You should still feel like you're working even if everything stays on the floor. Yes, oh my gosh, or just come off the floor, guys, amazing. The magic number is 4, and then you're gonna do 4 on the other side. So if you need to make this harder, you already know this now as well, you make the lever longer. So you would straighten your legs here for lift, and then I'm trying to compress and then rotate. The magic number is 4, and then 4 on the other side. So other shoulder, other hand on top. So just working at your level might be butt on the floor, your level might be legs bent, your level might be legs straight. So just 4 on each side, and then we're gonna have a look. We're gonna go back to straddle inverts. But you guys can stay there because you're pretty much in the right position. So guys, it's time to put everything together. So lift, compress, rotate. You've got these concepts, right? I'm gonna do a tiny segue through shoulder mounts and then come back to where we're going. Stay there. So it's this same thing, okay? It's lift, it's compress, and you can sort of see me rotate. Yeah, so I'm bringing my thighs up and then I'm rotating through the bottom part of my spine, the same drill we did on the floor. Back to inverts. So we're gonna lie down for these ones. Pick a side, any side. Same thing, top of bicep. Just gonna do the whole exercise, all right, on the floor. Don't even have to do 4 anymore, we're gonna do 2, so 4 in total, 2 on each side. So outside hand on top, let's begin. Lift, so you're pulling down through the shoulders. Compress, you're bringing your thighs up towards your chest, and now rotate. So bring your hips up to the pole. So lift, compress, thighs towards your torso, and then rotate, that's that curl. Rotate, amazing. So you can be on the floor, you can be slightly off the floor. We're just gonna do 2 of these on each side. I'm just gonna very quickly demo 2 ways of doing it, right? So one is I'm quite low, I lift, I compress, and then I rotate, toes up to the pole. So I stayed on the floor the whole time. I can also do this just off the floor. Lift, compress, rotate. Beautiful. It's time to hop up and have a go. So, everything together, all at once. Pick a side, any side. You have 4. We're back to 4. 4 on each side. So top of bicep to the pole. Put the whole class together now. Outside hand on top. Hands are up, face high. Lift. So we pull down on the pole, we come up onto our tippy toes. Compress. Get small. Think a little bit like a froggy shape when we come into compression. Okay, so lift, compress, and then trying to bring your toes up towards the hands that rotate without losing the lift. Yes, these are good. So Amy, I know we're at the end of the hour, right? But lift is starting to go away, which is why it's hard to find that rotation. Compression is good, lift is starting to like fade, but fair enough, we've done a lot. Yeah, no worries, Yen. So again, as long as you just get these concepts, you don't even have to do any of them. So if there's any that aren't aggravating, like lift is not aggravating, do a couple of lifts. On the floor is not aggravating, do a couple on the floor. We're only gonna do this for like 1 more minute, and then we're gonna work on our straddles to finish. So again, feel free to skip anything in the class that doesn't work for you, for your body. So as we've seen, when things are a longer lever, they're harder to lift, okay? So if we can't find good compression, it's harder to invert because we're more open and it's heavier, basically. So this is why compression, hamstring flexibility, and straddle flexibility are super important. So that's what we're going to finish our workshop with today, is just a little bit more work into our straddle flexibility. Does this make sense? Does this idea make sense? You know, sort of what you got to work on. And now I'm hoping you guys, if you film yourself, you can see like, oh yeah, I did a great job compressing and rotating, but I've lost my lift. I can see it's gone away kind of thing, yeah? You need to maintain all 3 parts as you rotate up. The last part is straightening your legs into straddle, which we haven't done today, but we're just gonna do straddle drills now, so I figure that's covered. So your invert will be lift, compress, rotate, and the last part is opening into your straddle. So same thing when we're up there, once we're upside down, it's back to this, yeah? When we do this one, we're trying to find this action through chest and shoulders. Yes. Let's pop ourselves into butterfly. Full disclosure, I am not amazing at this drill. I'm hoping you can see it. We're just coming into some pelvic rocks. It's a little bit like cat-cow, but cat-cow of the pelvis, okay? So you're rounding out the spine, tucking the hips under, and then you're trying to rock forward over the sit bones and find that straight spine. Very similar to the same thing, yeah, that we're doing the whole class. So pull on your ankles, rock forward over the sit bones, try and give me almost like a little booty pop at the back. So tucking under, little booty pop at the back. I feel like I've gotten better at this after I said I wasn't great at it, but you can see what I'm doing, that's cool. Is that 4? I think that's 4. When you've done 4, do the same thing in straddle. So legs come apart, hands can be forward or back, so have a little experiment to see which one works better for you. You're rounding out the spine, tucking the hips under, and then lifting the booty at the back. Tucking under, so this is called a posterior tilt of the pelvis because you're tipping towards the back. And then we come to an anterior tilt of the pelvis because we're tipping towards the front. So if you think of your pelvis like a cup of tea, the tea is spilling out the back, and now the tea is spilling out the front. Tea is spilling out the back. Come to tea spilling out the front. Fabulous. We're gonna stay here. I think everybody is tipping out the front. If you're watching this later and you're not able to get to tipping out the front, what you can do is roll up your yoga mat and better than that, and sit on the edge of the roll so you're almost falling off the roll, and that can put you into T-tipping out the front. Yeah, that anterior tilt. I call these dolphins, I don't know what they're called. Bring your hands up behind your head. Dive, like you're diving like a dolphin. Round out the spine. Dive, dive, dive. When you get to the bottom, you're trying to straighten your spine, arch your back, and lift up like a dolphin. Yes. Yes. We're going to do 4. Let's go. Dive. 4. Straighten and lift. 3. Bend. Straighten. Lift. 2. Bend. Straighten. Lift. Last one. Bend. Diving down. Straighten. And lift. Like a scoop. I think they might be called good mornings. I'm not sure. But anyway, they're a really great exercise for active flexibility through our hamstrings and through our straddles, which is what we want. Pick a leg, any leg, put your hands one either side of that leg. Actually, word of warning, make your straddle a bit narrower. It's a little bit less than the perfect straddle, it's easier. So hands one either side of the leg. The further forward you have the hands, the harder this will be. The further back you bring the hands, the easier this will be. We're going to do 5 instead of 4. You're lifting your leg 5 times. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very normal for your quad to cramp a little bit. Same thing on the other side. So one hand either side. Further forward is harder. Further back is easier. 5 lifts. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands in front. Further forward is harder. Further back is easier. Both legs. 5, 4. Lower it down slow. 3, 3, 2, and 1. So these drills for like active flexibility are really important. So active flexibility is where we're using our muscles to bring our body into a particular position, because this, which we're going to do now, this is good, okay, and it's good for your passive flexibility. But when you're lifting your body upside down, we want to be able to find that compression actively. Now that I've given you a speech about active flexibility, we're going to do some more passive flexibility. Come into your straddle. Pick a side, any side, heading over to that side. We're going to take a walk with our hands, okay? So as you walk your hand, you want to dive, it's like a dolphin. You want to dive it into the floor, reach it out along the floor. So I'll demo one. So we dive and reach, we cross over. Dive and reach, dive and reach, dive and reach, dive and reach. Make sense? Let's head back the other way. Dive and reach. So really slide the hand along the floor, out like swimming. Looks like freestyle. Do it again. Dive and reach, freestyle. Slide it along the floor, slide it along the floor, slide it along the floor. Go back until you end up at your first side, and then we are just going to do some very passive stretches to finish, okay? So this has been a big morning. So this is kind of a relaxed stretch, okay? So you can round out the spine, you can kind of slump down, okay? Relaxed version. We're going to make this a little bit more active. So flex your foot now. That just means you're getting into the calf as well. And now try and find a straight spine. So it might be better with hands behind. It might be better with hands in front. So if hands are in front, you're pulling to create a straight spine. And if hands are behind, you're pushing to create a straight spine. So a little bit more of an active version. Come to a little side bend, so same hand as leg on the inside, other hand reaches up and over. Use this bottom hand, create some opening through the chest. And then all of this to the other side. So sweep it across, super relaxed version first. So slump, round out the spine, let the head drop. It's been a big morning. It's a relaxed moment. Making this a little bit more active. So now we want to flex the foot. So all that means is we're getting a calf stretch as well, but bonus. And now we want to find a straight spine. So if hands are in front, it's this idea of pulling to try and find the straight spine. You can also use hands behind and this idea of pushing to try and find a straight spine. Just whichever one of each, whatever works for you, yeah? So foot's flexed, spine is straight. So now we're going for length rather than depth. And yes, Yen, I love Simone. I love the pole physio. Do what she says. She's amazing. Coming into our side bend. So same hand as leg on the inside. Other arm reaches up and over. You're using this hand and arm to create a little bit of opening. So press the back of the hand into the leg. Open the chest up towards the sky. And last one, same thing, out in front this time. We start off with our super passive one. Okay, so for the passive one, it's very passive. Round out the spine, head drops down, kind of like slumping. So it's a very relaxed version of your straddle. And same thing, we're coming into a more active version. Same as what we did. Flex the feet, so we add on that calf stretch. Find a straight spine. So that might be hands in front and this idea of pulling, trying to find that same anterior tilt, so that's that booty pop. Hands could also be behind, doing the same thing. Okay, so straight spine, slightly more active version of your straddle to finish. Release, lifting up, just give your legs like a little bounce on the way in. I find that's helpful. Maybe give them a little rub. Awesome work this morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for Straddle Secrets. Again, the secret is lift, compress, rotate. Okay, thank you, Emily Scher, the circus doc. She is amazing. Hopefully this has given you some drills and some ideas of what you can work on, where is your straddle a little bit weak, yeah? At what point in the process? And this has hopefully given you some things to work on at that point of the process. But this is one of those long-term moves. So I think you start pole and then you're punching out new moves every week. And then you sort of get to here and it's oh, this is actually a bit of a project. Yeah, this is gonna take a bit of time. And it's the same thing with a handspring or a static V/Aisha. These things are more long-term moves. And you have them in aerials and stuff as well. You have things that take years in aerials in particular to get. Okay, and this won't necessarily take years, but it does for some people, and they're long-term progressive moves that you need to work on and train. And there are so many elements to an invert. It's not just an invert, there are all these different parts to it that make it work or not work, depending on the shape of your skeleton or the way your muscles work. There's a lot of different factors, and there are a lot of different things you can work on. But yeah, it's all a little thing. And also, this is not related to this in particular, but just to reiterate, not every pole move is for everybody, yeah? Because every body is different, okay? And not everything is for everyone. But the great thing is there are millions of pole moves. So there are definitely some that work for you and are your thing and your jam. And those are, sort of where your pole life heads.
That's right. And being able to speak up and say that to people, to classes when you go, it's important. And the other aspect I find, just being 52 menopause, it just doesn't always translate into stuff. So, it's got to be, care for yourself.
Yes.
But be brave to speak up, especially the younger ones, they're not always helped much.
Yes, I always believe there's a version of every pole move that everybody can do, even if it's on the floor. Yeah, there's a version of everything for everybody. But yeah, you've got to interpret the movement, break down the movement, and see, and find your version of that movement that works for your body.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love the whole steer, it's good.
Yes, I love it too.
Log off and get on with it.
Awesome. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for joining me.
See you, everyone.